the channel, everyone, at Couchpreneur Sales. Hey, I want to start with a statement that's going to sound completely ridiculous, all right? And I want to say, the best salespeople in the world, they don't sell their product. In fact, the more you try to sell your product, it's funny, the worse you become. I want you to think about that. Nobody wakes up thinking, I hope someone sells me bookkeeping today. I hope someone sells me tax preparation today, or coaching, CRM software, whatever it may be. It's like they don't want products, okay? They want what those products allow them to become. And that distinction will change everything. So what I'm going to go over for you today is how elite salespeople never sell products. We sell transformations, certainty, identities, and most importantly, you need to sell the future version of the person sitting across from them. All right, so part one, nobody wants your product, okay? That's what you need to understand, and write that down. Nobody cares about your QuickBooks cleanup, okay? I hate to break you the news. What they care about is clarity, freedom. And this is the first illusion that every salesperson has to destroy, is that nobody wants your product. Products have no intrinsic value, okay? None. None. A bookkeeping service isn't valuable. Tax planning, same. It's like it's not valuable. A Ferrari isn't valuable. An MBA isn't valuable. You see, value exists only in the meaning the buyer assigns to those things. And psychologists call this subjective value construction. Your product is emotionally neutral. The prospect creates the value. And that's why one business owner happily pays $5,000 a month for an advisor, while another says $500 is outrageous. You see, the surface didn't change, right? The perceived meaning did. The amateur will ask, how do I explain my product better? Well, the best sellers in the world, you want to know what they ask? What meaning does this person attach to solving this problem? And those are completely two different questions, essentially. And now let's drop down to part two, and that's human beings by identity. And here's something behavioral psychologists have understood for decades, and that's people spend insane amounts, enormous amounts of energy protecting the identity that they've built. Every purchase either reinforces that identity or it threatens it. It's like a luxury watch isn't purchased because it tells time. A college degree isn't purchased because of a piece of paper. Same with a gym membership. It's like, it's not purchased because of equipment, okay? People buy what those things say about them. Identity is one of the strongest psychological forces in human behavior. Now let's bring this into sales. A business owner isn't buying advisory. They're buying the identity of becoming the CEO instead of the technician. An accountant isn't buying AI. They're buying the identity of staying relevant instead of becoming obsolete. Tax preparer, they're not buying education. They're buying the identity of becoming the trusted expert, right? So your product is simply the bridge. Identity is the destination. Salespeople never confuse the bridge with the destination when they're master closers. Just remember that. Part three, people buy emotional relief. People buy emotional relief. This is where neuroscience gets interesting, because it's like your brain is constantly trying to reduce uncertainty. Uncertainty consumes mental energy, and what happens is it creates stress, and that cortisol level rises. The brain begins searching for certainty, okay? So think about people. Think about why people hire professionals. Not because they can't technically do it. Many could. They hire experts because certainty is psychological value. A business owner doesn't hire an accountant because they love bookkeeping. They hire one because they want peace, less anxiety, more confidence, more predictability. You're never selling accounting, you're selling emotional relief. Once you understand that, then you can talk about that and sell that transformation, that future version of that person with those things, more confidence, more predictability, and obviously they're going to go with your services, right? Especially if you're producing for them. Let's go drop down to part four. So the other thing that's really important for you to understand is like you're selling a future self of that person. So I want you to close your eyes for a second. Hey, 5 years from now, I want you to imagine yourself. That's who people buy from. Not today's version, the future version. Every buying decision is investment in a future identity. Okay? Look, losing weight, growing your business, becoming financially free, any of these things, retiring early, spending more time with your kids, become respected, feel confident. Look, the product simply provides the path. You're not selling software. You're selling the person they believe they'll become because of it. And that's all you really have to do. Well, I have to do a bunch of other things, but that's literally the core of it, is what's the outcome of using this service. It's I'm going to have these things and I'm going to feel this way, I'm going to view myself this way, then I'm probably going to do it, right? Like if my current identity, this matches it, or my future identity, the person I'd like to become matches buying this thing, well, then I'm probably going to buy it, right? It's just common sense to me. Hey, part 5. Why features kill sales. Yes, a lot of you do it. You love features. More dashboards. Hey, more reports, more modules, lessons. Nobody cares. The thing is, the features answer, what is it? The buyers ask, what changes are going to occur once I purchase this? Okay? And you have to realize that's an entirely different question. The brain doesn't evaluate products, it evaluates outcomes. Every feature should immediately connect to psychological payoff, not, hey, this includes monthly reporting. That's something you wouldn't say. Okay? This is what you would say instead. You'll finally know where your money is going every single month, and you'll make the decisions with confidence instead of guessing. It's the same feature, different meaning. Part 6, stop selling logic. A lot of you do this, especially being in the accounting industry, and people say, well, look, people buy emotionally and justify logically. It's true, but it's incomplete. And I've talked about this many times in the past, about buying emotionally and justifying logically. It is true, however, it is incomplete. People buy because the purchase becomes psychologically consistent with who they believe they are. Then they use logic to defend that identity. Logic doesn't create the decision, logic protects the decision. That's why objections often appear after the emotional decision has already started forming. The prospect's not rejecting you, they're trying to make sure their future identity is safe. That's all that's occurring. Part 7, let's drop down to this. Elite salespeople tell stories. And I think obviously you're in sales, you know that stories sell. And the human brain remembers stories far better than facts. Well, why does that happen? Well, because stories allow people to mentally stimulate experiences before they happen. And when you tell a compelling story, the prospect begins imagining themselves inside of it. And this is called mental stimulation. I mean, obviously you all have heard of mental stimulation. But what happens is it reduces uncertainty. So you want them mentally stimulated. And that's why great salespeople consistently use examples. Well, one of my clients was exactly where you were, or where you are now. Now the prospect isn't evaluating information, they're imagining transformation. And that's where the moolah is at. Hey, part 8, the real product. The real product. So what are you guys actually selling? Not bookkeeping, not tax planning, not a software, not coaching, you're selling. And make sure you write this down. Freedom, confidence, control, status, security, growth, time, hope, peace, meaning, identity. Those are the products that you're selling. Everything else, delivery. The next time you're on a sales call, don't ask yourself, like, how do I explain my product? How do I explain my service? No. Instead ask, what future is this person trying to buy? Because people don't purchase products, they purchase the version of themselves that they hope exists on the other side of these purchases. So when you understand that, you stop sounding like a salesperson, you start sounding like someone who understands people. And that's when sales becomes less about persuasion, more about helping someone become the person they already want to be. So if you like this video, I shall see you in the next one.